Today I'm going to be sharing with you some tips and tricks on how to get the most out of your line board when it comes to finishing dents, so stay tuned. So tip number one is all about your line board position. So often when we're repairing dents, we have our line board, our dents, and then we're working here and it's kind of an equal distance apart. Now you may hear people say move the line board back or move the light back. Now what I often see is people move it back a couple of inches, but try moving it back a foot or even 2 foot away from you and you'll massively see what a difference that makes to your reflection. Particularly when you're using lines, the further you put that board back, the reflected lines appear tighter, closer together, and that really gives you a fine detail to be able to pick up any micro highs and micro lows, particularly in the finishing stages. So when you're just starting off working a dent, you can start off fairly close, but when it comes to the finishing stages, I recommend putting that board further back away from you, and it's really going to help you see the fine detail a little bit clearer. So tip number two is all about your head position. So again, in the example of that being the line board, this being the dent, this being my working position, that's my line of sight. Now if you're working on a bonnet panel like we do in our initial stages of training, it might be even lower down. So again, we're looking down and up at the reflection. It's fine for when we're just starting off a repair, and in fact sometimes it can help in terms of accuracy, being above the dent and looking down at it. But when it comes to the finishing stages, that's when we really need to get down low to the dent. So if we're using on our example is on a bonnet panel, here's the panel here. When it comes to the finishing stages, you want to get your head down as low as you can so that you're in line with the panel, whether that's looking straight on or having your head flat resting against the panel. And that's going to make a huge difference again in terms of exactly what you can see in that reflection. Just from going from your head here down to your head here. It makes a massive difference. So that's tip number two, is all about your head position when it comes to the finishing stages of removing a dent. So the third and final tip I want to share with you today is about tilting the board. So again, in our working position, as we get to the finishing stages, we can move the board further back and around at different angles, but we can also just tilt the board. So generally about a 45-degree twist, whether that's coming forwards or going backwards. Now what that does, it makes a big difference in the reflected lines. So as soon as you start to tilt that board back, the reflected lines pinch closer together, and once they're a nice tight line, it's like putting it into HD. It really shows up the detail for the micro highs and the micro lows. So that's my third and final tip when it comes to finishing your repairs with a line board. Practice moving that board around, and also practice tilting the board forward and backwards to really give you a nice clean picture. So that's my top 3 tips for the day when it comes to finishing your dents using a line board. I really hope you found the video useful. If you've got any comments, any questions at all, do pop them below this video and I will come back to you. And if you've enjoyed the video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, and of course you can subscribe to my channel. I really hope you've enjoyed this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Take care.